Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I am the festival director of Out on Film, which is Atlanta's LGBTQ film festival. I'm also an arts reporter for Georgia Voice. I am very, very excited to be talking this morning to Dan Lindsay. We're Oscar winners, Dan Lindsay and TJ Martin, who won an Oscar for the film Undefeated and have made an extraordinary documentary on Tina Turner, which is about to premiere on HBO. Thanks for joining us this morning. And guys, congratulations on such an amazing film.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. How long did it take you to work on?
Oh, wow. There's probably a difference between how long the producers wanted it to be for us to work on it and how long we worked on it. I think in all telling, it was about 3 years ago, almost like to the day that we first had a conversation with Simon Chin and Jonathan Chin, the producers, about directing. And I think it took about 2.5 years of kind of work.
What made you two want to tell this story?
Well, as Dan said, Simon and Jonathan had already kind of, Tina had already agreed to make the film with them, and then they approached us to direct it. And honestly, we were pretty hesitant at first because we weren't necessarily sure that two men should be authoring Tina's story. Also, we've been approached to do other kind of, high-profile, celebrity-driven films before, and honestly, especially in the music space, we often find that they're kind of in search of a story. It's usually kind of trying to leverage the celebrity, and there's no real kind of story there. And then slowly diving into Tina's, reading I, Tina, specifically the book she wrote, Kurt Loder, we started realizing that there's, for lack of better terms, there's an incredible saga, and we could actually approach it as a proper film. So it's a film first, just at the center of it happens to be one of the most iconic entertainers in the world.
Exactly.
So I think those elements start convincing us that there might be something, we can take a more unique approach to this than your kind of traditional fare music doc.
I think too, we're obviously aware too of the other mediums in which, we grew up. We knew What's Love Got to Do with It, the movie, and we're aware that there was a musical being prepared. But I think we also kind of felt that the documentary form in particular really served this story, and to be able to tell it, all of these other tellings, as great as they are there's always a kind of separation, right? There's either an author writing or there's somebody performing Tina, and this was an opportunity to tell Tina's story in her own voice.
As you were doing your research and finding out more about Tina, what were some things that surprised you that you didn't know about her?
Well, I think the one standout for us was the Vegas years.
Yeah.
After she'd left Ike, and after the divorce from Ike, she spent about, I think people have these, we kind of knew the broad strokes, and there's always kind of she was doing the cabaret circuit and also living on food stamps and cleaning houses. And it's always kind of like this small little detail that people don't know if it's true or if it's myth. And in learning about that, we realized that was like a 6 to 7 year period of her life where she was really hustling to kind of get by. And also, as Katori Hall puts it in the film, kind of like that was the journey of this new coming of age for her, where she's starting to kind of take control of her name, take control of her stage presence, and create the vision for the next chapter in her life. And that was really that was really new and really super interesting for us, because it was so much about this. The film, right, is about this ownership. I gave her the name Tina. He created the persona Tina, and here she is taking this opportunity, basically taking this time of her life to reappropriate that and give herself a new identity, which is all the foundation of the second chapter of her life. That was that was one of many things that were new to us.
Okay, you lined up some amazing interviews for the documentary. Were you able to get everybody you wanted to for that?
Yeah. That's one of the advantages of having Tina on board to do it. When you need somebody to make a phone call to Oprah, that can happen. but for us, the people we were interested in interviewing, unlike I think maybe some other music documentaries, were not we didn't want to populate it with stars and other musicians talking about her artistry. And there is for sure a movie to be made in that, with that direction. But for us, what we were interested in and what the film is kind of exploring is this tension between Tina Turner, the person, and the story of Tina Turner.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, we're kind of telling both of those stories in the movie. And for that reason, we decided we would interview both people that were very close to Tina, that kind of that had intimate relationships with her and were the kind of witnesses to a lot of things, and then what we always refer to in the edit as the scribes of Tina. So that's excuse me, Kurt Loder, who wrote the book I, Tina, Carl Arrington, who did the People magazine article, Angela Bassett, who inhabited Tina, and that was kind of our criteria of who we were going to speak to.
Yeah, this isn't a question. I just wanted to admit, I've always been such a huge Tina Turner fan, but there's nothing like seeing Tina in concert. I mean, the Tina concert that I saw, there'll never be anything that duplicates that. Had you two seen her in concert before?
I've never seen her in concert, and now after working on it, I wish I had.
She's absolutely amazing. She really is. In the film, there are some moments when Tina doesn't want to talk about the past. I mean, what and relive Ike moments or questions about Ike. Was it hard to convince her to do this, knowing that she would have to at least reflect on that or deal with it again in some capacity?
I mean, I wouldn't describe it as having to convince her of anything. Yeah. She was already on board to do the film even before we signed on to direct it. So I think, as is evident in the film, she would have, on a like surface level, she would have loved to just not talk about that, but she understood going into it that was going to be a part of it. I think the thing for Tina is she's a very open, honest person, is willing to talk about things. She just understands that there are certain parts of her life when she talks about them, there are consequences for her spiritual and mental health. And, that's something we explore in the film.
Okay. So when did Tina see this for the first time?
When was that, Dan? She saw it at the end of summer, right?
Yeah, September, October.
September-ish. And as you point out, there's some really difficult, parts of this film in terms of diving into some of her, more painful moments in her life. And we were really fortunate that Tina and her husband Erwin gave us complete autonomy to make the film that we wanted to make. So in showing her, we were obviously hoping that she would actually like the film, but more importantly, that she wouldn't, we didn't want to do the thing that is explored in the film, which is this notion of the public kind of seemingly re-traumatizing her by bringing her back to the past for, even when she's, at the height of her career in the 80s, 90s, and even close to retirement. There's still kind of this association with her with Ike. And so she watched the film, and at this point we're all in quarantine and she's in Europe and we're in LA, and she wanted to talk immediately, and we were asleep, so we didn't get a chance to get in touch with her. But she spoke with our producer Simon Chin in London, and the report back we got was that she was beaming. She was really excited and felt that was an accurate and honest portrayal of what it was like for her. And I think, the thing that's always good for us to hear, that a subject feels that we did the story justice, we did it right. But more importantly, she also mentioned that it wasn't as hard to watch as she had thought it would be.
Okay.
And so, for us, what you watch in the film is kind of this journey of, is she really coming to a place of acceptance of her own narrative? And that maybe is a testament to that might be true.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it been like the last year working as filmmakers, documentarians during a pandemic?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, there's definitely some compromises we had to make in the making of the film, creatively, which are, disappointing, but it's nice that the film is still landing with people. We obviously as filmmakers get very intricately involved in each beat in the film, and TJ and I specifically are we've been accused of being perfectionists. So it's difficult that things that we envisioned we just weren't able to do. But it's, I don't know, it's maybe there are some advantages. Sitting and doing press, I guess, from not having to leave your house is maybe one thing, but yeah, no, it was difficult.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, at least from our experience in working in a pandemic, is this: it's hard to get rhythm is affected.
Yeah.
Even like production in general is inherently kind of arrhythmic, and so you want to keep momentum as much as possible, and it just throws a wrench in that whole process. So that's the biggest thing, at least for me.
Yeah. I'm sure as filmmakers, it was disappointing not to be able to have a traditional live opening night. Having said that, you're premiering on HBO where this film is going to get seen and adored and craved by millions of people. I mean, what's it like knowing that this, I mean, everybody that I've talked to, all my critic friends, this film is so good. But what's it like knowing that millions of people are going to be able to watch this weekend?
I don't think I've even thought about it.
Yeah, you're stressing me out now.
Yeah. The first part of your question, we've definitely thought about. Like, it has been very odd to not, even just near the end of the process, like to not be able to screen the film in a theater with some people, to be able to get a sense of how it plays, right? Like, we just kind of finished the film and gave it to HBO and Universal, and we're like, here it is. I hope people like it. So yeah, I don't know. I honestly haven't even thought about it. But when you say that, I did say to TJ the other day, because of the subject matter of this will probably be easily the most seen thing we've ever made. And that's, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. Okay. But I'm happy that it's going to come out on the platform that it's coming out and will be seen. I don't know, TJ, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, the film actually made its international debut at Berlin, so it would have been nice to be in Berlin and celebrate it and within that festival community. Having said that, to your point, but I guess I think I'm curious more than anything. I'm really excited to see the same way that people feel that this might be a final kind of goodbye from Tina, at least from the public eye. I'm really genuine to see what the we've heard from people such as yourself, critics and journalists. I'm really curious just to see how the general public reacts, mostly to see what their relationship is with Tina. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting for us as filmmakers to actually step aside and see what that communication looks like between the fans and Tina.
Exactly. Tina is beloved everywhere. I mean, anybody you talk to loves Tina, but I write for a gay publication. This is where this is going to be published, and especially in the LGBT community, Tina is just adored, cherished. Why do you think it's so much in the LGBT community? Tina is cherished so much.
Oh, I mean, I would flip that question back on you. I mean, definitely something we discovered early on in doing the research of the film, and and I don't know. I don't know if I have the authority to speak on that. But TJ, I mean, talk about somebody owning, right, your identity and your story, and kind of, or your, here's what it is, I guess, maybe I would say. One thing we talk a lot about Tina is she has charted her own path in life and has kind of not accepted society telling her what she should be. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes her so admirable, right? Tina is not somebody who is on her face, on the face level, like a activist, or she's not somebody who's going to stand up on a pedestal and say, look at me and I've got the answers. But she is somebody who has charted a life for herself in a society that told her she had to be other things. And I think that is, that just that alone is just something so admirable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the same thing. I think by nature of her, you know, she sadly, she says she never, even at the peak of her career, she never felt a sense of love. She always carried a lot of pain, and that's not just from the abuse from Ike and the feeling of abandonment from her mom, but even the music industry didn't know how to categorize her, and they wanted to paint it, put her in a different, kind of place her in a different space or dismiss her altogether. And here's this person who just never stopped, honestly, believing, it's as cheesy as it sounds, believing in herself and believing in her vision for herself.
Mhm.
And I think that has deep resonance with anyone who's faced some form of adversity, especially in a world that you feel that doesn't necessarily want you to be you. You know what I mean? I think it's as simple as that. And I think that has deep resonance with lots of communities and lots of folks.
Sure. How special was it for Tina to go to the premiere night of her musical in New York and just see the crowd just so happy for her to be there and just so enamored with her in the situation?
It's the way you phrase that, it makes me think different, because at first I was like, well, it's complicated. Like, I don't know how excited she is. But that's the lead up to it, right? The film doesn't fully really show the amount of time that we spent with her in the lead up. We were in upstate New York with her and filmed some, verite stuff with her, kind of getting ready to go, and then we were in the hotel room with her as she got ready. And in fact, it was the only time in filming with her, when she was getting ready, that I remember she looked over at me and she just gave me a look, and I was like, I've seen enough archive of Tina to know that look is like, maybe you should leave for a little bit and give me my space. So I think, though, what you see in the film, I think, is totally genuine. The look on her face when she comes in to the theater is truly, I think, at least, is truly genuine. I mean, Tina is a very humble person, surprisingly, especially considering how adored and how huge she is. I don't think it doesn't register for her. For her, that's her work, that's her job, that's what she did. And so, yeah, I have to assume that was a pretty overwhelming evening for her.
I got time for two quick questions. You two have been working together for a while now. What do you attribute your great working relationship with?
I mean, probably a lot of variables. Probably the number one thing is trust.
Okay.
We sometimes, it's rare, but every once in a while, someone will throw that question to us. And the more I've kind of thought about it, it is very much like, if we were not working with each other, Dan would still be the first person I would share my work with before it even comes close to anybody else's eyes, because I trust his opinion and I trust his judgment. And I can take it can be hard, but I can take his criticism as a means to trying to make the piece better. That's probably foundationally what it is for me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Final question. I'm sorry, Dan, did you ever?
I would agree.
Okay. Okay, great. You've sort of mentioned the references before, but I just wanted to close with, what do you two think Tina's legacy is?
Wow. Honestly, I don't even think we haven't been asked that, and I don't even know if we've thought about it. I mean, what pops into my head is that, I mean, her legacy will be as a trailblazer in a way, like, I think her legacy is as an iconic, amazing performer. I mean, there's just no denying that this woman was gifted with a voice and an ability to perform in front of people in a way that a lot of people aren't. That came out of a lot of hard work, obviously, but there was something innate in her. But I do think also, you can't dismiss the story of Tina Turner from that. Part of what is so amazing to see her on stage is to know what she had to go through to get there. And so, yeah, I mean, a trailblazer and an iconic performer, if I can say two things.
Okay.
I think you might have, because there's just so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's just after making this film, there's a part of me that wants to believe that, the how she will be remembered might be something deeper, right? And I don't know if I've quite figured out what that is. If anything, right, we, you know, knock on wood, hopefully, you know, Tina's with us, you know, for many, many, many years to come. You know, we're going to be the ones to determine that legacy when she passes, right? It's going to be her fan base, it's going to be the public, it's going to be the community, and hopefully that the way we see her is something much more than a performer, right? Someone who stood up for what she believed in and stood up for herself. You know,
Okay.
and I don't know what you call that, fierce. You know, I don't know.
There's so many ways to describe Tina.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Dan, TJ, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for this amazing documentary. Tina debuts on HBO March 27th. Check it out. It is extraordinary. Guys, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure to talk to you too.